All right, now we're gonna start cleaning the engine block. We're gonna be using diesel as a solvent, and that's gonna make this engine look hopefully brand new. And then we'll go and hit it with the pressure washer. Now that we got the engine all cleaned up, we are going to start putting some new parts on it. We have a dual timing chain kit, brand new valve cover with AN fittings, a billet fuel rail with 500cc injectors. This is the new timing cover with the -20 AN fitting on it. We have a better oil pump, and we have some billet parts from 22RE Raceworks that we're going to be putting on this thing to make it look real clean. So the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be tearing down the old front end of this motor. So we need to get the valve cover off, get the oil pump off, and get the timing cover off. All right, we got the valve cover off. Everything looks really good. The motor's super clean. It's basically a brand new motor, but to get the timing cover off, we gotta get to that bolt right in there, which is always a pain in the butt. So we gotta take these half moons off, take off the distributor drive gear, and then we can get to that bolt and pull this front cover off. All right, we got the last bolt out and the distributor gear off. Now I just need to drop the oil pan a little bit, and we're gonna basically just pull off this whole front assembly, and it should come off. Probably pretty difficult, but that just means it was sealed good. So everything's actually looking really good. I don't see, there's not excessive play. The tensioner works. So all this stuff is actually good parts, except for the fact that I had the plastic timing chain guards in it, which actually allows for some excessive play. So that's going to be an upgrade along with the dual timing chain setup. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull the entire timing gear off, but I think I want to make sure that we are at TDC right now, so I'm not too worried about that. But pull this off, and maybe we'll check the main caps. Doubt it, they look freaking mint. But let's get to, we're gonna take all this off, clean up the front of the motor, and then put new parts on. All right, got it all cleaned up. The gasket surfaces, I'm gonna hit a little bit of a wire wheel, and then we're going to start reinstalling some parts. So here we have a dual timing chain kit from LC Engineering. It comes with all metal timing guides, and it's a dual row, so your odds of skipping a tooth are actually going to be lower, and therefore when we're throwing boost at it and at crazy angles, the oil pressure will not affect it as much due to the fact that the oil pressure timing, the tensioner runs off the oil pressure. So this is going to be a very good upgrade for this motor. Alright, so as you can see, you have the top link. It's a different color. That tells you where the top is, plus that little indentation there. And then down here, you have the bottom link and the little indentation there, and all that's secured by a keyway, so it's pretty hard to mess up as long as you're at top dead center, which we are. Alright, so now we're going to get the tension, and that is going to allow us to get some tension on this chain, and we start reinstalling everything. All right, we got that all installed. Now we're gonna start getting the timing chain cover on. So we gotta get some gaskets in here. And then we'll be able to start installing the oil pump and the water pump. All right, we got the timing cover installed. We just need to torque all these down, but I'm gonna get all the other bolts on it first. This is the Hall sensor mount that's already installed on there. Now we just need to get all these other ones put on, oil pump, water pump, and then just give it a nice wipe down and get it back in the truck. All right, we got it all installed. Now we're gonna go and torque down every single one of those bolts and then reinstall some of the pretty parts. All right, the whole front cover's back together. Now we're going to start cleaning up parts to put them back on. We got this LC Engineering EGR block off plate on there. The dual row timing chain, looking stout. It's all lined up, top dead center. We're going to clean up the oil pan first, get that painted and reinstalled, and then we're going to do the same with all of the accessory brackets. All right, so we got all that cleaned up. We're going to get ready to paint it. We're going to paint the block as well. We're going to spray it all off with some air first, and then we'll get to painting. All right, we got the new alternator on it. We got all the belts back on it. We got all the accessories on. Now, what we need to do is we're gonna get the oil pan on the transmission supports. And then we're gonna put the valve cover on and get the turbo lines ran. All right, we got the oil pump on, or the oil pan on. Now we're gonna start getting the intake on. Now that we got the intake on, we're going to move over and get the turbo manifold on. All right, we got the turbo manifold on. Now we're gonna move up here. We're gonna put the valve cover on, and we're gonna put the coil bracket on, and then we're gonna put the oil feed and oil return lines on and see how all that works out. We're gonna get them mocked up before we put this back in the truck, and then we'll get the full intake manifold on. All right, we got the valve cover on. We got the 2A end fittings for the catch cans, all 4 of the LS style coil packets, coil packet bracket, and the turbo on. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to start running turbo feed and drain lines, and that's going to basically get this motor ready to go back into the truck. It's looking pretty good.
All right, we got the engine back in, turbo and everything back in. This intercooler tube is on, and now we're gonna build this side. We got the adapter boot. I cut down a 45 already and put it in there. So that's kind of where it's gonna have to live. So we just gotta make a tube coming down, another 45 down into it, and cut it to fit, and then we'll weld that side out. And then the intercooler boots will be done. All right, we got that one all fitted up. That's nice and tight. So we're gonna pull this out, clean it up, and weld it. All right, we're gonna get it tacked together real quick. That way I don't lose my marks, and then clean it up, weld it up. All right, got this one all welded up. We're going to clean up the ends and then put a bead roll on them so that they'll look more like that. All right, we got that one bead rolled and this one bead rolled. That just helps the boot stay on. So now let's get this back installed and see how it fits.